Respect costs nothing, but losing it can cost you everything. You can rebuild a business, recover money, even fix mistakes. But once respect is gone, trust and opportunities vanish with it. This story reminds us that real wealth is not in bank accounts or big houses, it's in the way we treat people. Because in the end, the richest person isn't the one with the most money, but the one who gives respect freely and earns it back tenfold. He lay on the cold sidewalk, shirt torn, face bruised, and hands trembling. Behind the tall glass doors of Harvest Table Restaurant, laughter echoed from the staff inside. The man they had just shoved out like garbage now sat in the dirt, tears burning his eyes. Passers-by slowed to stare, confused by the scene. But the workers inside had no idea. No idea that the man they mocked, insulted, and kicked out wasn't just any beggar. He was their boss, Daniel Whitmore, billionaire founder of Harvest Table. And when the branch manager ran out and shouted, "Do you know who this is?" the silence that followed would change everything. Daniel Whitmore wasn't the kind of billionaire who loved cameras and flashy cars. At 38, he had built Harvest Table into one of the fastest-growing restaurant chains in the US, but he still drove his old pickup, wore plain shirts, and looked more like a schoolteacher than a CEO. His strength wasn't just business, it was his heart. Daniel had grown up in a tiny town in Kentucky. His mother worked as a waitress in a roadside diner. His father was a mechanic, and Daniel knew what it meant to be poor. He remembered neighbors who looked down on them, and customers who barely glanced at his mother while she refilled their coffee. He swore to himself, "If I ever build something, it won't just serve food, it will serve dignity," and he did. But Daniel also knew how quickly values can fade when money and pride get in the way. So he tested his staff not with spreadsheets, but with kindness. From time to time, he disguised himself as a dishwasher, a delivery man, even a beggar, just to see how people treated those they thought were nobodies. Now, it was time to test his new branch in Houston, Texas. Early that morning, Daniel checked into a budget motel. In the bathroom mirror, he began his transformation. He poured stale coffee over his faded shirt, rubbed dirt on his face, and slipped on a torn baseball cap. In his hand, he carried a grocery bag with a wrinkled piece of paper inside the document, proving he owned the entire Harvest Table chain. By 10 a.m., the Houston branch buzzed with customers. The smell of barbecue chicken and cornbread filled the air. Waiters in neat uniforms chatted and laughed. A banner above the counter read, "Harvest Table, serving food with love and respect." Daniel stepped in quietly, shoulders slouched. I'd like to see the manager, please," he said in a soft voice. The receptionist, Megan, nearly choked on her latte. "What?" she said, staring at his dirty clothes. Soon Tyler, Jessica, and Brittany joined in. "You see, the manager," Jessica snickered. "This is a restaurant, not a shelter," Brittany added. "Maybe he wants leftovers." Tyler laughed. Daniel bowed his head. "Please, just a moment." Instead, Tyler shoved him. Megan slapped the paper bag from his hand. Jessica kicked it across the floor. "Get out, old man," she sneered. "Before I call the cops." They dragged him outside. He hit the ground, his elbows scraping against the pavement. Inside, they kept laughing. The laughter stopped when the glass doors slammed open. David Carter, the branch manager, stepped out. He froze when he saw the man on the ground. His voice thundered. "What have you done? Do you know who this is?" The staff froze. Coffee cups slipped from hands. Smiles vanished. David rushed forward and helped Daniel stand. "Sir, I'm so sorry," he whispered. Daniel wiped his face, picked up his wrinkled paper, and turned to the employees, now trembling on their knees. They begged, "Please, sir, forgive us. We didn't know." But Daniel's voice was firm. "We don't only hire skills here. We hire character. And what I saw today goes against everything I've built this company on." One by one, their names were called. One by one, they were fired. Headlines swept across the country. Billionaire CEO exposes staff in disguise. Workers fired for bullying. Within weeks, the ex-employees struggled. Job interviews ended the moment their names were recognized. Bills piled up. Shame followed them. Until one night, Megan was struck by a car while crossing a street. She woke up in a hospital bed, broken and hopeless. And then Daniel walked in. He set down a paper bag. "I paid your bills," he said quietly. "Rest." Tears rolled down Megan's cheeks. "Why? After everything we did?" Daniel looked her in the eye. "Because people don't always need punishment. Sometimes they need a second chance." Weeks later, Megan, Jessica, Tyler and Brittany were back not as supervisors, but as interns. They swept floors, bussed tables, and served with humility. Slowly, everything changed. Months later, at a food conference in Dallas, the four stood on stage. Megan spoke first. "We mocked a man for his clothes, not knowing he was the one who gave us our jobs. But instead of revenge, he gave us a second chance. That changed everything." The crowd rose in applause, and in the front row, Daniel Whitmore smiled softly, because sometimes the greatest meal a restaurant can serve is grace, and at the end of the day, fortunes rise and fall, but respect never loses value, because respect is the true currency, and the richest person is the one who gives it freely.